A visit to London has always been on my bucket list. The popular landmarks like British House of Commons, River Thames, and all were attractions for me. So in August of 2024, my wife and I took off from Philadelphia Airport to London Heathrow Airport. Before that, knowing that London was not that big of a city, we planned to stay close to city center so as to be able to get to the places we wanted, sometimes on foot. The Uber driver picked us up from London Heathrow Airport and ferried us to Rio Plaza Hotel in central London. It was a convenient location for us, very close to Victoria Station or the train station. It was basically a 5-minute walk or less. Because we arrived early in the day, after check-in, we walked over to Victoria Station to check out which underground trains to get to places of interest. It was there that we discovered that one could see all of London in one day using the hop-on, hop-off transportation bus. Just within the grounds of the Victoria Station were several booths that were selling day passes. And one of the folks in the booth described to us how we could hop on one of the buses, take a tour around London the same day, get to see all the locations that we wanted. We liked it. The bus basically took passengers around London on designated routes through popular locations. You could get a pass there, so we did. On the second day of our arrival, we went back to Victoria Station, boarded one of the hop-on, hop-off buses, stayed on the upper deck. It was an open upper deck, and so we're able to see every nook and cranny that the bus traversed. Our journey or our tour of London had begun. Grounds of the Buckingham Palace, one of the famous places, of course. If you come to London and you don't come here, then you have not actually, the sense is that you've not actually been here. So the camera is just going to pan around just for the Buckingham Palace, the building, always entertaining visitors. We're planning maybe sometime tomorrow to be able to come here for the change of guard. Hopefully we're going to be able to experience that before we leave back for the United States. But yeah, this is Buckingham Palace. This is the ground. Sufficiently people going and coming. Again, majesty. This is the River Thames. My very first memories of this river was during my kindergarten days in Lagos in a school that was called Ladilak Institute, a private institution that I went to just before the war started. Every time it started raining, our teacher would turn around and tell us to, she first of all taught us how to sing the song, London Bridge is Falling Down. So apparently that's a historical perspective of one of the iterations of the London Bridge, which is just behind me there, that was built and fell down actually because of some issues or so. But of course the London Bridge goes over the River Thames, which is what you see at this point in time. Then another encounter I had with that name, River Thames, was in primary school at St. Mary's Elementary School. I was in 5th or 6th grade at the time, and I memorized a song that Mungo Park, not a song, but the speech about Mungo Park, what he said when he got to the River Niger, and supposedly discovered the River Niger. He said that he could not kind of be here. He said Mungo Park, of course, when he got to the River Niger for the first time, in the light, he said something like, "I saw with infinite pleasure the great object of my mission, the long-sought majestic Niger, glittering in the morning sun as wide as the Thames in Westminster." So at that point, he said other things, but as wide as the Thames in Westminster. It turns out that he was talking about this River Thames. So in my research, subsequently, I got to know a little bit about River Thames here in London, and so I had that fascination about River Thames. So today I've had the opportunity to take a boat cruise along the Antonia into and through the River Thames. So again, that nostalgic feeling, I was filled with that nostalgic feeling of being able to get to, finally get to, and take a cruise on the River Thames. So that's it, folks. I thought I know. Hello. Is that how I do it? To the fire. Most of you possibly have been here, but this is my first time physically coming to River Thames. I've been to London before, but it was just a week passover. So that's the Ferris wheel, the popular Ferris wheel. And then the Westminster Abbey. One of the goals I've always had is to do church here in Westminster Abbey. This hunger began during the time of Diana and then has persisted. So today we had the opportunity to go for the morning prayers. As you can see, the church bell is tolling for the 11 o'clock hour for the commencement of other services. They have different services that they put in place on Sundays. We've been to the morning service. We just ended a little while ago. So if you look around, you'll see quite a good number of people milling around, some people going into the church, some simply looking at the building and absorbing the majesty, I don't want to say majesty, the majesticness of the church and the splendor. We were able to get into the church. I was awed, even as an architect, the type of meticulousness, the carefulness of the design of this iconic building. With all kinds of ornamentation, and I was struck by the fact that in spite of all the ornamentation inside the building, they were able to maintain a certain level of acoustic normality. That people, at least when somebody is speaking through the microphone, somebody will be able to hear them and hear them well. This is a part of engineering or architecture that is called, acoustic. So it involves all kinds of manners of design and dampening and so on, just to make sure that when somebody is speaking, you can hear very well. So once again, I will have to take this off my bucket list, the bucket list of things I want to do, or we want to do here in London. I haven't been able to attend church here in Westminster Abbey. For those who are not aware, this is where Prince William and Kate Middleton actually had their wedding, and there's been all kinds of coronation programs here. So that, my friends, is Westminster Abbey on Sunday, August the 18th, 2000. Of course, a visit to London will not be complete without paying homage, so to say, to the famous Oxford Street. Wikipedia describes Oxford Street as Europe's busiest shopping street, with around 300,000 daily visitors. And as of 2012, it says that Oxford Street had approximately 300 shops and designed as part of the A4, a major road between London and Fishguard. We had to walk around the whole length and breadth of Oxford Street. I was surprised, though, that if you're pressed, if nature calls, you have to go to just one or two stores in that whole length of street to be able to relieve yourself. That's the only criticism I have. But I was not disappointed at the type of wares that we got into a couple of stores, took a peek. We weren't actually doing any shopping. What we did was to get a peek, get a sort of a preview of what Oxford Street had to offer. We were not disappointed. We had a chance to take a boat ride on River Thames, and it gave us a very good view of the Tower Bridge. Wikipedia describes the Tower Bridge as having been built in 1894 to ease road traffic while maintaining river access to the busy pool of London docks. So this bridge actually lifts when there is boat traffic under it of sufficient height. So it lifts, and then the boat will go through and it will go down again. And what I found out was that because of the iconic nature of this bridge, every time you see an article about London, this bridge, the Tower Bridge, is usually the bridge that is shown. A lot of people have come to think that the Tower Bridge is London Bridge. Actually, it's not. The London Bridge is one of the bridges that span the River Thames, but it's not the Tower Bridge. They are two separate bridge structures. In the background, you see the Big Ben of London. It's actually the bell inside the clock tower. Has, according to them, it weighs massively, around 13 tons. Some have said from description I see on the internet that the Houses of Parliament and Elizabeth Tower are the ones that are actually called the Big Ben. But the Big Ben is a very iconic structure in London. Again, one of those iconic structures that you see in pictures, that once you see, you identify that with London. We got a chance to go to the House of Commons and stand very close to the Big Ben. Now, these pictures were taken at Madame Tussauds, the wax museum that you have in London. There's also one in New York. We've been there also. But we had a chance to make believe stand next to several film actors, especially 007 cast, as well as here, Brad Pitt. It was fun. We just took a hop-on, hop-off bus, and he got us right in front of the place, and we hopped off. I'll end the vlog here, and I hope you enjoyed what you saw. There will be more of my reporting of my travels here. Thank you.